The signal in the void deep in the outer rim of the galaxy. A lone survey ship drifted through empty space. It was called the Finder's Light, and its crew worked for the Central Union, a coalition of over 30 alien races who ruled the stars. For centuries, the mission was simple: scan ancient debris fields for useful technology, old reactors, or lost weapons. Most of the crew expected another quiet trip, but not this time, Captain, said the scanner operator, a slim young man named Darren. You need to see this. The captain, a calm older officer named Voss, stepped beside him. Another derelict? No, sir. Something deeper, older. It's buried under asteroid rock. But it's not alien. Voss frowned. What do you mean? Darren zoomed in on the readings. It's single quotes S. Human. The room went silent. Everyone aboard the Finder's Light had heard stories of Earth and its people. Once a small species, they rose too fast, fought too fiercely. The Union labelled them dangerous, too unpredictable to control. So Earth was pushed aside quietly. Their systems were blocked off, their colonies erased. That was over 200 years ago. Since then, the humans had vanished. Until now, the ship approached the broken asteroid field carefully. Voss stared at the scans. A massive wreck lay hidden beneath the surface, rusted, torn, covered in space rock, but parts of its hull still shimmered with dark metal. Faint markings, old Earth script ran along its surface. What is this thing? Darren whispered. The computer gave a soft beep. Classification: Earth-built warship. Name: Awaken-3. Status: deactivated, unknown. Age: approximately 210 years. Voss blinked. 2 centuries. That puts it near the human displacement war. They all know about that war. It was the reason Earth was silent. The war where humanity was outnumbered 100 to 1 and still nearly won. But they were eventually driven back, their fleets scattered or destroyed. And now, one of those ships had been found. Darren looked up. Should we report this? Voss nodded slowly. Yes, this goes to Union Command immediately. He tapped a button and began sending the encrypted data package. Then he turned to Darren. Keep scanning, see if there are more ships nearby. Darren frowned. You think this isn't the only one? Voss stared at the frozen warship below. I think this is just the beginning. Far away, at Union Command, message arrived within hours. High Command watched the footage with growing concern. Confirmed human warship, said the officer in charge. But the engine core is still active. A general with pale skin and sharp eyes leaned forward. Still active after 200 years. Not just active, the officer replied. It's charging. The room froze. Someone whispered. They're waking up. The old files were pulled from cold storage, blacklisted documents. Forgotten warnings, one by one. Names of old ships returned to the screen. Raven, Hammerfall, Black Star, Omen. Ships built in desperation. Ships lost to deep space during the last battles. Ships that shouldn't exist anymore. A quiet voice spoke. If these ships return, the Union is not ready. Back on the Finder's Light, Darren leaned forward in shock. Captain, new energy. Spike, massive surge. The asteroid field began to shift. Pieces of rock fell away as if pulled by an invisible force. A blue glow lit up from under the dust, then another, then 10 more, all around us. Darren said in a shaking voice. There are more ships. They were sleeping. The computer beeped again. Awaken-3. Reactivation complete. Awaiting command signal. A deep rumble echoed through the Finder's Light as something passed underneath them, huge, fast, and rising. Captain Voss grabbed the edge of the console. They're waking up. Lights burst across the asteroid field like stars returning to life, one by one. Ancient human warships lifted from their rocky graves. Silent, waiting. Ready. Asterisk. The fleet awakens. Asteroid field shook. Massive shapes began to rise from the shadows, cold and silent at first, but glowing with slow pulses of blue light. Human warships, thought lost forever, now moved once again. Captain Voss stood frozen on the Finder's Light, eyes wide as the ancient ships emerged around them. They were buried here, he whispered, like they were waiting. Darren's hands trembled over the controls. There are 20, no 30 vessels. They're all powering up. The largest of them, the Raven 3, now hovered directly in front of their ship. It moved slowly, like something waking from a long sleep. Its hull was scarred, but the metal was still strong. Rows of silent cannons lined its sides, and thick armored plates covered its core. Should we run? Darren asked. Voss didn't answer, because the Raven 3 suddenly turned toward them. The scanners lit up. Incoming signal, a voice, mechanical but clear, came through the calm, unregistered vessel. You are in human recovery zone. Identify yourself, or retreat immediately. Darren looked at Voss. It's ... giving us a warning. Voss replied quietly. They still follow protocol. Even after 200 years, he tapped the calm. This is Captain Voss of the Finder's Light, a Union vessel. We found your ship buried in an asteroid field. We are not a threat. There was a pause. Then the voice replied, Union vessel. You were advised to leave this sector. Human command restoration is in progress. Your presence is not required. Darren stared at the screen. They're rebuilding. Command. Voss sat down. Heart pounding. They're not just waking up. They're reconnecting. Far above, human relay node activation in the darkness of space, a signal spread like ripples through a still lake. Every pulse reached another sleeping warship. Systems blinked online, reactors roared to life. Old data files were restored. From dead space to hidden moons, more human warships began to stir. Signal confirmed. Raven 3 online, Omen 6 online, Black Star online, new command link, waiting for central authority. Some ships had no crews. Others had something else. AI minds, built in secret during the final years of the Human-Union War. They had no need for sleep, no need for orders. Only the code: defend human sovereignty, destroy confirmed Union aggression, await humanity's return. They had waited. Now, the time had come. Union Command, emergency meeting. High Council gathered in a silent chamber. Panic had already begun to spread through the inner systems. The report from the Finder's Light arrived just minutes ago. General Coven stood at the center of the table. This is a full reactivation. At least 50 confirmed human warships are back online. More are being found every hour. Councillor Wren asked, do we know their goal? Coven looked at him with tired eyes. No, but one message keeps repeating. On every frequency they broadcast. He tapped the screen. Earth will reclaim what was lost. The chamber went quiet. Back near the asteroid field, Finder's Light began to back away slowly, carefully. The Raven 3 didn't follow. Instead, it turned back toward the other ancient ships. Then without warning they jumped. One by one. The human warships vanished into light, using old jump drives that hadn't been seen in over 2 centuries. Darren gasped. Where are they going? Voss whispered. They're returning home. The scanner beeped one last time. A final message came through. To those who silenced Earth, we are awake, and we remember everything. Asterisk. Earth's forgotten messenger. The galaxy had moved on. Humanity was a rumor now. A name buried under centuries of politics and rewritten history. Most believed Earth was empty, if it even still existed. But now, ancient human warships were on the move, and something even more terrifying was becoming clear. They were heading toward the cool worlds. In the outer system of Taraxis Prime. Taraxis Prime was a wealthy Union planet home to trade fleets, science stations, and shipyards. Its skies were always busy with merchant vessels and patrol ships. Then, the alarms rang. A formation of unknown ships had jumped into the edge of the system. 50 signatures. No identification. No responses to Union hails. Captain Dreel of the Union Defense Fleet stood on the bridge of the Spearfall, his jaw tight. They're moving in formation, his tactical officer reported. Military precision, no escort craft, just warships. Dreel's eyes narrowed. Prepare defensive positions. Open a wide broadcast. Let's find out who they are. A signal came through before they could send their own. It was short. This world was built on stolen ground. Humanity does not forget. Then the sky lit up. The first strike without warning. The human warships opened fire. Their weapons were not like the Union's. They did not glow. They did not hum. They simply hit and destroyed. Orbital stations exploded instantly. Defense satellites melted. The Spearfall barely had time to raise shields before a kinetic round the size of a freighter punched through its engines. The blast tore the ship in half. Across Taraxis, people screamed as their skies turned orange. Power grids collapsed. Communications dropped. Fire rained from above. In just 9 minutes, a fleet of ancient human warships crippled one of the Union's strongest systems, and then they vanished again, jumped to another system. No demands. No speeches. Just destruction and silence. Union Council emergency broadcast. The galaxy watched in horror as the images of burning cities and shattered fleets appeared across every screen. Counselor Wren appeared, pale and shaken. We are under attack by a hostile human force. We believe these ships are remnants of an ancient fleet once thought lost. They are not acting under any known government or flag, but not everyone agreed. Some leaders remembered Earth differently. Ambassador Keller of the Renari Confederacy spoke out. No one destroys like this without purpose. These ships were built to win a war they never got to finish. Others began asking dangerous questions. What if Earth wasn't dead? What if it had grown in the shadows? And what if this fleet was only the beginning? Far beyond, on a hidden moon in a base, buried deep under ice, old screens flickered on. Earth symbols returned to life. A figure stood in the command center, tall, armored, eyes cold. He was not young, not old, something in between. His name was Commander Rain. He watched the latest battle footage in silence. Behind him, AI drones hovered, running analysis. Warship signals pulsed like a heartbeat in space. Status of Union response. He asked. One of the drones spoke, panicked, scattered, no coordination. They expected fear to last forever. Rain nodded. Then let them remember. We warned them once. He turned toward the screen showing the old Earth flag, black, silver, and fire. Now we answer silence with fire. Back in the Varnan system, Captain Voss and his crew had returned from the asteroid field, and they were now under heavy guard. Military officers flooded their ship, searching for answers. Voss stood before a Union panel. You woke them, one of the officers said accusingly. You should have left the wreck alone. Voss didn't flinch. They weren't asleep, they were waiting. We just happened to be nearby when they chose to wake up. The panel went silent. Finally, someone asked, do you think more are coming? Voss looked up. They're not coming, he said. They're already here. Asterisk. The hunt begins across the galaxy. Silence was breaking. More human ships began appearing, always the same way. Sudden, sharp, no warning. A system would go dark, and by the time help arrived, everything was gone. Entire Union fleets were vanishing in minutes. Outposts, once considered safe, were wiped from maps. No survivors, no signals, and still no demands were made. No messages, only the same phrase, broadcast before every strike. Earth remembers. Union command crisis depends in the central command chamber. Union leaders gathered, their faces pale under red lights. Emergency reports scrolled across walls. Dozens of systems had fallen in just 1 week. General Coven stood with clenched fists. We need to strike back. If we don't show strength now, the rest of the galaxy will think we are finished. But we don't know where they're based, said another. We don't even know if Earth still exists. They're coming from somewhere, Coven growled. Track them, find them, burn their hiding place down. A voice from the shadows spoke calmly. That's what we tried 200 years ago. Heads turned. Ambassador Lara, the last surviving diplomat who once met with human envoys before the war, stepped forward, and we failed then. You think these new ships are all they have? They're not attacking planets to win territory. They're sending a message. What message? Lara looked around the room. You should have left Earth alone. Aboard the human flagship, the Obsidian Path, Commander Rain stood at the front of the battle room. Holograms of Union fleets lit the dark space around him, each one marked for destruction. Behind him stood 12 captains, each commanding a warship. Pulled from deep hibernation, all units are in place, said a female officer. We've reactivated 43 vessels total. Some are still unstable, but combat ready. Rain nodded. Our message is clear. Now, we finish what they started. Another captain asked, what about Earth? Do they know? Rain's eyes narrowed. Earth sent us away long ago. They didn't expect us to survive. We were the forgotten weapon. The last wall. He turned toward the starlit window. But now that we've returned, they'll hear of us again. He raised his hand. Set course for Trinaris. Let's see if the Union remembers fear. Planet Trinaris. Union military hub. Trinaris was the beating heart of Union strategy. Dozens of command ships docked above it. Thousands of officers, analysts, and ships operated from its orbit. When the human fleet jumped in, no one expected it. At first, Union command believed it was a rogue fleet. Then the scanners failed, communications dropped, and then the warships began to fire. Missile swarms, rail cannons. Energy lances that sliced through orbital rings. Every human ship moved like it was alive, no wasted movement, no hesitation. A Trineris shield dome, said to be the strongest defense grid in the galaxy, collapsed in 3 minutes. Admiral Frell screamed over open comms. They're not even trying to conquer their cleansing. We need to evac now. But it was already too late. Varnan observation post Captain Voss watched it happen through long-range telescopes. Trineris, once a shining beacon, was now nothing but fire and ash. Darren stood beside him. They're not just fighting. They're erasing everything connected to the old war. Voss said nothing, because he now understood. These weren't just ancient ships. They were part of a final plan. Union Council desperation sets in. Council of Ren stood with trembling hands. We need peace talks. Anything. We send a signal. We offer surrender. We admit we were wronged. General Coven slammed the table. No. If we surrender now, we lose the galaxy. Ambassador Lara raised her voice. We've already lost it. You just haven't accepted it yet. The council chamber shook with argument, but somewhere else beyond the stars the next human fleet was already moving. They didn't ask for terms, they didn't stop to speak, they only came to finish what they started. Earth response far across the stars, on a quiet blue planet that had stayed hidden for decades. Earth stirred. Inside Earth Defense Command, underground control room, Commander Elon stood before a massive screen. He was old now, grey-haired, with sharp eyes and a scar from the last Great War behind him. Officers worked in silence. The room was deep underground, beneath the Earth's surface, protected by 10 layers of shielding and silence. A red warning light pulsed on the wall. Ancient fleet reactivated. Multiple system strikes confirmed. Union alert level. Black and young officer, near, spoke softly. Sir. It's the Ghost Fleet. Elon turned toward her. Confirmed. Yes, sir. The Raven class, Hammer class, even the Obsidian Path. We have live footage from Trineris. The fleet is overwhelming them. Elon sighed and sat down. They weren't supposed to survive, he whispered. We left them behind, sealed them with no way home. You hesitated. Should we recall them? Elon looked up. Double quotes. No, we trained them for this. We told them to defend Earth, even if Earth forgot them. He paused. They didn't forget. Back in Union space, aftermath of Trineris smoke filled the skies. Orbit was a graveyard of shattered metal. Union rescue ships moved slowly, pulling survivors from drifting wrecks. Admiral Frell, blooded and bruised, sat in what remained of the command tower. He stared at the screen replaying the battle. They never spoke. Not even once, he whispered. A medic looked at him. We tried to talk, sent surrender signals. Please, warnings, Frell nodded. And they ignored it all. He clenched his fists. They didn't come to negotiate. They came to punish. Aboard the Obsidian Path, Commander Rain stood silent in the central chamber. Screens showed system after system falling. Union military posts gone, colonies empty. One of his officers approached. Sir, Union forces are pulling back. They're abandoning outer systems. Rain nodded. Good. We won't chase them. Orders. Begin Phase 2. The officer hesitated. Phase 2. Are you sure? Yes. He pointed to a single glowing dot on the map of Earth. We return home, inside Earth orbit. Defense network online satellites blinked to life. Old stations powered up. A long dormant gate on Earth's moon opened, revealing a hidden cannon larger than anything the Union had ever seen. The planet had played quiet for a long time. Now, it prepared to speak again. Commander Elon watched the skies. They'll come, not to conquer, but to ask. You blinked. Ask. He nodded. They've done what we trained them for. Defended our memory. Now they'll ask if Earth is ready to return. Union Council, final plea. Council of Ren stared into a transmission camera. To every planet, every ship, every species in the Union, he sent one message. We underestimated them. We erased their history, lied about their strength. But humanity didn't die. They waited, and now they're awake. We must stand together, or fall system by system. This is not just a war, it's a reckoning. He ended the message, voice trembling, but he knew, deep down, the reckoning had already begun. The galaxy reacts. Dozens of smaller governments pulled away from the Union. Some offered apologies to Earth. Others sent no messages but redrew their borders far from human space. Trade ships rerouted. Stations changed flags. Entire sectors went silent out of fear. The Union was breaking, and no one could stop it. Asterisk, the return to Earth stars was silent again, after weeks of strikes. After Union worlds burned and their fleets fell apart, the ancient human warships stopped attacking. No one knew why. The last known fleet led by the massive warship Obsidian Path vanished from Union space without a trace, but Earth knew exactly where they were going. Above Earth, low-orbit Commander Elon stood at the top of the Earth Defense Tower. The sky above was full of blinking light stations powering up, satellites shifting, old weapons waking after decades of rest. "They're coming," he said quietly. Newt nodded beside him. "Signal from deep space. It's them, ETA. 3 hours. Good. Do you want to prepare weapons?" Elon shook his head. "No, open our skies. Let them see home again." The Ghost Fleet approaches, and by one, the ships appeared in high orbit. Raven to 3, Hammerfall Omen 6, and at the center, Obsidian Path. The old Earth flag lit their sides. They came in silence, no weapons charged, no shields raised. Just presence, massive, silent, and full of purpose. Inside the Obsidian Path, Commander Rain stepped onto the bridge, eyes fixed on the blue planet below. His officers stood in silence. Some had never seen Earth, others had only memories from long ago. "It's still alive," one of them whispered. Rain nodded. "They left us behind, but they didn't fall." A ping echoed through the ship. A signal from Earth. Simple, welcome. Home, Earth, landing site. Black Mesa Base seat, an old military complex deep in the mountains, a landing pad lit up for the first time in decades. The ground shook gently as Obsidian Path touched down. Rain walked down the ramp. Elon stood waiting. No guards, no weapons. Just two old soldiers looking at each other. "You survived," Elon said. "You didn't call us back," Rain replied. "You were never meant to return. You were the wall." The last line. Rain looked at the sky. "Then why am I here?" Elon stepped forward. "Because the galaxy knows who we are now. They saw our silence. They felt our fire." He looked at the dusty old symbol of Earth on Rain's armor. "And now it's time we speak again." Union Council collapseth. Final vote was cast. Half the member species withdrew. The rest demanded new leadership, new direction, or independence. The Union was finished. Ambassador Lara spoke to the shattered council. "We lost our place not because of war but because we lied about history. The truth came back in steel and fire." She pointed to the galaxy map, now full of red zones, human-controlled regions. "Now we choose, live beside them or vanish trying to control them." The message from Earth sent out a new signal. This time, it was not a warning. It was not a threat. It was an offer. "We remember what was done. We remember those we lost. But we did not return for revenge. We returned to reclaim our place. We are human. We do not forget. But we also rebuild." The message echoed through every known system. Some listened, some didn't, but all understood. The silence was over. Earth had returned. Asterisk. A seat at the Stars galaxy was no longer the same. Trade routes shifted. Armies stood down. Border patrols vanished overnight. The name Earth was now spoken carefully, with respect or fear. Every system knew what had happened. They saw the ancient warships rise from the dark. They saw what happened when humanity returned. But now, the question was no longer what they destroyed. It was what they would build next. Earth-Global Summit chamber leaders from dozens of species stood inside a massive domed hall on Earth. It was once a war council chamber, now remade for diplomacy. The Union was gone. In its place, a new coalition was forming. The Terran Accord, not built on dominance, but on respect, turned the hard way. Commander Elon stepped up to the center platform. His words were broadcast across every colony and capital in the known galaxy. "Many of you feared our silence," he said. "Some thought we were gone, others tried to erase us." He paused, then continued, "But humanity never left. We only watched, we waited, and when the time came, we remembered." He looked at every representative in the chamber. "Now we offer peace not because we are weak, but because we are strong enough to choose it." He raised a hand. "Let this new alliance rise not from fear but from understanding." The crowd stayed silent for a moment. Then, one by one, they began to applaud. Even the old enemies. Above Earth, orbiting shipyards, ancient warships, now fully restored, floated like guardians around the planet. They would not attack again. They didn't need to. Instead, they became protectors, symbols of strength and survival. Newer ships were being built beside them. Blending old human designs with new galactic tech, a future was being forged in metal and fire but shaped by wisdom. Elsewhere, the last Resistance not everyone agreed. Far on the edge of explored space, a rogue general named Tavix of the former Union fleet gathered what remained of his forces. They forgive too easily, he growled. Earth will not stop until it rules everything. His officers hesitated, but they haven't attacked since returning. One said. Tavix snarled. They don't need to. They already won. He slammed a fist on the table. We'll strike first, while they pretend to talk. 1 week later, a mistake. Reactivated Tavix's small fleet entered human space. No warnings were sent. No broadcasts made. They launched a sneak attack on a human diplomatic station near the border. They destroyed it, killed hundreds. Then they waited for Earth to reply, but Earth didn't reply. The old fleet did. Aboard Raven 3, Captain Mara watched as her screens lit up. The coordinates are confirmed. Target: Tavix's fleet. Orders: Commander Rain appeared on the screen. Full response. No hesitation. Understood. The Raven 3, Omen 6, and 3 other warships jumped into Tavix's system in seconds. The battle was short. Tavix's fleet didn't survive long enough to send a second message. The warships vanished again back into the stars. And peace returned. Once more. Final scene. Years later, on a quiet planet far from Earth, a classroom of alien children listened to their teacher. She pointed to an old holoscreen showing the symbol of Earth. One student raised his hand. Teacher, why does no one attack Earth anymore? The teacher smiled gently. Because Earth doesn't bark. It doesn't shout. It waits. Another student asked, but what happens if someone forgets? The teacher's voice softened. Then the sky grows dark. And old warships wake again. Outside, above the stars, a distant shape moved in the black. Silent. Watching. Waiting. Because humanity never forgets, and the galaxy never will again. Asterisk.